Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Justice League again. Now, I read this already, but I'm going to read it again. I read it on Facebook. I did a sort of live stream there. Psalms 37, verses 8 to 11 says, "Cease from anger and leave off wrath. Do not fret in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yes, you shall diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." Meek means humble. And it's so true. You don't have to be angry because wicked people seem to be succeeding. And don't try to follow in their ways, because they will suddenly be cut off. So don't follow in their ways. Alright? Let's talk about Justice League. Now, there's a critic that actually evaluated Justice League who I am somewhat paying attention to. I didn't know she was around, and for those of you who are in Justice League Unite, you would have seen her article. I put it out there, and I thought it was a fair article. It's Ashley Menzel, that's her name, and she actually is a reviewer for We Live Entertainment. She reviews movies, and basically her assessment of this movie is very interesting. Just to put something into light here, and she seems to see eye to eye with me on these reviews. Spider-Man Homecoming. This is what she thought about it. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, but she thought it didn't do justice to a web-slinging friend. She had it as a 6.5 out of 10, as you can see right here in the corner. 6.4, sorry. And she goes on to elaborate on that, okay? So, just so you understand, she loves foreign films, so do I, dramas, reading books, and has film adaptations. Her favorite movie of all time is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She loves Doctor Who, which is a sci-fi, Supernatural, Arrow, iZombie, Blacklist, and Grimm. So she's got a certain taste of movies, so you have to put that into perspective when you think about her and her taste and stuff. So Spider-Man Homecoming, she wasn't really truly impressed with it. Wonder Woman, however, blew her away. She thought it was a game changer. Her rating of it was, as you can see, 9.5 out of 10. Alright, so she was completely blown away with it, and she thought it was amazing. Okay, so I'll just put that into perspective. Captain America Civil War, she thought it was entertaining, but she said it like most comic book movies of this time, it seems as though some of the stakes in the movie falls off. So that was her thing. See, she said here, overall the film was a lot of fun with some great action sequences and characters. I don't know how much it stands out against other superhero films, feeling much like a sequel to the Avengers film than a part of Captain America realm of films. So she was just saying. Alright. So she kind of lines up with what I think about these movies. Spider-Man Homecoming, I gave it more slack because I thought that they were trying a new inventive look to Spider-Man Homecoming. But to be honest with you, all these Marvel films feel the same. They feel the same. They have the same punchline. They have the same jokes. I think the only difference was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 went out on a limb, and it was just wacky as hell. You know, and so I absolutely like that they took risk and went out on a limb. All the other Marvel films are just like the same, man. It's like the same formula over and over again. It's the same. You have all these different directors, but it just feels like the same kind of movie, the same kind of flow, you know, which bores me to death. So I can't watch those movies. I can't really watch Marvel films anymore. I'm going to be trying for Black Panther, but if Black Panther falls into the same old, then, man, forget it with Marvel films. I'm sorry, man, because they just do not inspire me at all. And they have no relatability to the real world, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So, sorry, you ain't gonna catch me dead watching a Marvel film just like that. You know, my brother was trying to get me to watch The Punisher, binge The Punisher. See, he preferred to watch and binge The Punisher than go into the cinema and watch Justice League, because, you know, my brother's swayed by public opinion. And so, he didn't want to go see Justice League. He wanted to go see Thor Ragnarok. And I was like, alright, cool, I'm going to do it just because of you, but I'm just telling you now, brother, my taste in movies and your taste in movies, they're totally different. You know what I'm saying? Because, in my opinion, Thor Ragnarok was a hot piece of, you know. I'm just being real. You know, I did not like it. I did not like that movie. I'm telling you how much I just did not like that movie. And no, let me just say, see, I'm not disrespectful like other people. Waiko Waititi, let me just tell you, brother, you did a hell of a job on that movie. So don't feel personally that I don't like that kind of style of movies. I just don't. I don't like it. All right, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about what people talk about. People who believe in naturalism, they would say humor feels natural. When something feels natural, it means this is predictable. This is what the sequence. This is what people would usually do. You know, this is what I think I would do under a situation. Whereas romanticism, or what we call, forgot what you call it, something realism, that is where the character is actually moving along the lines of what the director wants them to do because of their ideology. But it is still realistic. You can keep it in a realistic setting, but people may say, oh, that's not what that's not what I would naturally do. You know, that's what some people would say. In fact, they would actually do that given the circumstances, but they argue that they wouldn't. And it's just what it is. All right, so we're talking about Justice League. So here's what she had to say about Justice League, which I thought kind of falls in line with what I think of Justice League. She said, she's just telling the story here. Justice League is superb in its handling of multiple storylines and characters. Again, notice Zack Snyder works with, he doesn't have one narrative, he has multiple narratives. For almost all his films, he's been doing that, okay? Some of which marks their first appearance in film. The casting of the film is spot on and leads to perfect chemistry between the characters. They work so well bouncing off of one another and giving and taking at appropriate moments. There's a harmony between the characters and their purposes. While we have a dark, brooding Bruce Wayne, we have a light-hearted and socially awkward Barry Allen to balance it out. Each character plays a role in making the film a joy to watch. Ezra Miller as the Flash is the highlight of the film for me. He perfectly nails the awkward gawkiness, which makes his interpretation of the Flash genuinely memorable. Gal Gadot reprises a role as Diana Wonder Woman and is again a force of nature. She commands every attention every time she's on the screen and gives this role her all. Jason Momoa and Ray Fisher are spectacular additions to the film as well. The villain Steppenwolf, Sierra Hines, was decent. Not the strongest DC villain, but it didn't hurt the story in any way. The action scenes in the film are exciting and keep the audience engaged and interested. Each character has a role to play in the fight scene, and each is given their moment to shine. In no way is this a Batman movie with friends. It's undoubtedly established itself firmly as the Justice League film. There's one scene in particular where they're fighting Steppenwolf, and they each take their shots at him while seamlessly working together as a team. Where DC succeeds so admirably is in their stories. We always can feel a real darkness and reality to the film's spectacle with humor. They're grounded in reality and never let the audience forget that. While you're laughing, there's a world happening out there. The beginning of the film shows the world in mourning without their Superman. We see the reality of homelessness, crime, and desperation. This harsh reality establishes a world and emotion that's almost tangible and continues through the rest of the film. The gritty nature of the world of DC is worth the price of admission. While Justice League is phenomenal in many ways, there are a few issues with the film. She says, there are some holes in the story. I'm still trying to find some plot holes, folks. So, if you guys know any plot holes in the story, please share some with me. That beg to be answered. But you have to consider condensing such a huge story into a film that requires the omission of some aspects of the story. What I found to be a bit distracting is towards the end, in a big battle sequence, they really go CGI heavy, and the result is a little jarring. There are moments in the film where it almost feels like a video game because of the effects. It's not that they aren't spectacular looking, but that they have this otherworldliness to them that distracts from the film slightly. I would argue that they're facing an otherworldly villain, so it should look otherworldly. You know what I mean? Justice League is a force and leaves us wondering what's next for a newest superhero group. The chemistry between the characters combined with a realistic lens in the world of Justice League leaves the audience begging for more. With a nearly perfect 2-hour running time, the film leaves the audience hungry for more, assuring us that there will be a long life ahead for the team. Justice League is bold, exciting, and a darker superhero team that is unapologetically honest, as it is fiercely entertaining, leaving us asking, Avengers who? She's teasing at Marvel, which I wouldn't do, but it's cool. What I like about this combination between Whedon and Elfman and Snyder and even Junkie XL, because Junkie XL's presence is still in there with the songs Come Together and with the song Everybody Knows, because the Junkie XL kind of arranged, the music and what would come on the tracks and stuff like that. And even the Icky Thump by White Stripes. So Junkie XL's influence is still on the film, and I thought that certain suspenseful moments, I thought Danny Elfman actually borrowed it off of Junkie XL. Of course, Hans Zimmer scores in there. Didn't hear his Man of Steel score, but anyway, my point is that I thought this collaboration, for some reason, it's sweet to me. Like I said, this movie, like, it was made with me in mind. I really, really love this movie, and I think that's the thing that I share with Ashley Menzel. Again, I don't think that Steppenwolf was a weak villain at all, not by a far shot. Was he the best DCEU villain out there? No. Is he the best villain I've ever seen? No. But he sure as hell ain't no shabby villain. You know what I mean? He's straightforward. He's straight cut. But that's exactly how some of the strong men of the world are today. And I just thought that was a perfect villain for this particular movie. And you don't want your villain, like Scott Mendelson is saying, to overshadow the theme of the movie, which is the Justice League. So I'm absolutely glad that Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf was a formidable villain, so I was cool with it. So I like what Ashley said, and just for those people who say all the critics are saying bad things, no, she was a critic that actually put in her review for Justice League, and it was calibrated on Rotten Tomatoes. And what I like about Ashley is how she critiques movies, and so I can see I have similar ideas and similar understanding of how you critique movies. And I think it's because of her taste in movies. You look at her taste in movies, and they kind of line up with what my tastes in movies are. So I can get why she actually reviews how I would see it. And another thing people need to pay attention to is, and I think critics need to also make mention of this, is, or at least put it somewhere in their bio, is what kinds of movies they're persuaded by, or what they tend towards, what their bias is. I think your bias determines what kind of movies you'll enjoy. Take, for instance, Thor Ragnarok. A lot of people are enjoying the heck out of that movie, okay? I'm not one of them. And it has nothing to do with the movie's intrinsic value or the movie itself. It's just I don't like that style of movie. I don't really like Marvel movies, okay? Even the best Marvel movies of late, like Logan, as much as people like Logan, I thought that at certain points, this might sound like sacrilege to some people, but at certain points, the actor who's playing Logan, I thought he overacted certain scenes. I think he overdid it. He overdramatized certain moments. But because it was rated R, people excused him. But to be honest with you, I thought the time he was most impressive was when he was in that berserker rage at the end of the movie. Before that, to me, some of that stuff was forced. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. If you really want me to be Hugh Jackman, if you want me to be hypercritical on Logan, because everybody sees Logan is injured, he's carrying an injury, and he's dying. But for me, quite frankly, yeah, it was bloody and everything, and gory, but his performance wasn't better than Gal Gadot's. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion now. I don't think his performance was better than Gal Gadot's, and people say Gal doesn't act. She can't act. I thought Gal actually did more range of emotion and had much more going on with her character than Hugh Jackman's character. Hugh Jackman's character, in essence, was this: a guy who was trying to escape and just be to himself and take care of Professor X. And he found he had extra responsibilities, and his life got a little bit more complicated. And he found out that he had a daughter, and he tried to save their life and the mutants in the end. That's the whole story. Wonder Woman's story is a lot more complicated than that. Wonder Woman's story is she wants to help save mankind, eradicate Ares. That's a straightforward thing. Then she realizes that she can't save mankind, that mankind chooses to either be good or bad. In the end, she has to choose between saving mankind or eradicating them, because Ares tells her the truth about what mankind is, the dark side. But she sees the brighter side of mankind through Steve Trevor, and therefore she decides to still go on to defend them. And while she stops Ares, she realizes you cannot stop no villain of mankind. Mankind makes his own self a villain to himself or not. And I thought that was a deeper story than Logan. I mean, the character has to go through so many different changes because she has to go to this new world. She has to understand this new world, how it operates, decide if she's going to accept or reject certain things in this new world. She steps out into the light, and then she goes back into the shadows. So, I mean, it's, to me, that character has much more going with it than Logan's character did. I'm just being real. All right? And we don't want to talk about Justice League and the character development in that. Even the brief moments with these characters have more character development than any Marvel film I've ever seen. Any of them. All right? My brother wanted me to see the Punisher series. Why? Because this guy, he was learning how to, because the world's unjust and unfair, he was learning how to just keep going at it. So he was relentless. That's basically it. That's all the Punisher is. He's a relentless dude. And that's one-dimensional. And my brother doesn't get it, that I'm not into that. Like, I'm into virtues and stuff and depth. And there's no depth to the Punisher that they're talking about in that Netflix series. There's none. You know, and this is the thing that people don't get. Like, people are like, oh man, you know, the Punisher, we're going to see Punisher and stuff. I'm like, because, you know, the critics reviewed Justice League bad. I'm not going to see Justice League. You know? And like, you so fickle, man. Y'all are just so fickle. Y'all are fickle people, man. Justice League is the movie you need to see. Justice League reflects what is happening in the world today, now. Your Punisher series, it ain't doing squat. It ain't gonna do nothing for me. I already know what the Punisher is anyway. I've seen him from the comics. That don't impress me. And you can't get me to be impressed about the Punisher. What? He's a bad boy and there's a lot of blood and gore? That's it? That's what makes a movie now Academy Award winner? That's what makes Logan an Academy Award winner? Blood and gore? Come on, man. Get for real. Oh, it's a rated R comic book movie. So what? What's the story? Deadpool was a great comic book movie. It was rated R. No, fool. It was a pile of shh. I don't want to cuss. You know what I'm saying? It was a pile of garbage. Garbage. That's a garbage movie. Ain't got nothing for me. Nothing for me to learn anything from. It's pure bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But that's what people want these days. They don't want substance. They don't want to hear about reality. They don't want to face reality. It's a lot of BS out here, man. A lot of BS. I'm just saying. Anyway, man. So, yeah. Justice League, man. You saw the reviews for Ashley Menzel. This was November the 14th. It was 3 days before the movie came out. And I thought that's awesome. I just wanted to share this with you guys. Leave my commentary on stuff. You know, if you like value and stuff, you know, that's what my channel's about. It's not the most popular channel out there, but I'm going to tell you this. People be listening to this channel because they know it. If you want the real deal, you come to this channel. You know what I'm saying? All them other channels that pretend and they all fake and everything. You know, I mean, I respect Mark Hughes. You know what I'm saying? I respect certain people out there who are major channels and they really try to do a good job of what they have to say. But let me just be real with you guys. You know, I'm just being on the real. A lot of them are just phony. They phony. And they fake. You know what I'm saying? They fake. It's just what it is. And I'm going to just be real with you guys. Right? You know, I had to do footwork for Batman v Superman, man. For the backlash of that movie. I had to do footwork for Suicide Squad. It was because we started up groups on Facebook for Suicide Squad. That's why that movie did so well. Because we piloted the good word of mouth on that movie. And then we did a whole lot of groundwork on Wonder Woman. We did the groundwork on Wonder Woman. You know what I'm saying? All these other fake channels out there wasn't doing no groundwork. There wasn't being no foot soldier. You know what I'm saying? I just being real. I'm just being real. I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. And where my love for the DCEU is. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so when it comes to Justice League, if I was a fake fan, I'd be bashing this movie right now. You know what I'm saying? For no reason whatever, because I was entertained. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm a real fan, bearing in mind that two different directors for this film, you know, I support this movie. I don't be talking that kind of junk. I don't be putting that kind of PR out there. Knowing full well it was a good ass movie. No, I wouldn't do that. Anyway, you guys, you have a peaceful day. If the movie was crap, though, I would have let y'all know it was crap. You know that. The day one. But it wasn't. You guys have a great one. Hold on.